Our story. I just recently discovered my wife had an affair for 2 years. I found out about the affair when I looked through her email and found out she was pregnant with the other man's child. I confronted her and she said she was terrified. I had told her on the phone that it was over and she cried. 10 minutes later, I called her back and told her I would be with her all through the disaster because I couldn't bear the thought of her going through such an event all alone. What would her family say? What would our friends say? She will be cut off. She will have nowhere to go. She will be devastated. We had a long talk when I went home. I am currently working, training overseas and will be here for 3 years. My wife said she felt abandoned and that I never really showed her that I loved here. Because I had to leave a few months after we married. I felt really remorseful and apologized again and again, telling her it was all my fault and not hers. And fortunately, we decided to get an abortion and I accompanied her all the way, caring for her and telling her how sorry I am. But when I asked her to stop seeing the other man, she said she needs time to think. She says I was never around when she needed me, and indeed I was never the greatest husband, this I admit. But I sincerely apologized and even forgave her. I told her I would forgive her 70 times 7 times if need be. But she still says she wants to consider things over, whether to leave the other man or not. I am deeply depressed. I am now back at my job in another country. I can't imagine what my wife is doing. I want to trust her, but she says she has not made up her mind yet. I asked her when she would be ready to start over again. She says she doesn't know if she wants to. I sent a text to the other man to ask him to back off. I would have confronted him and beat him to death, but that would only pain my wife. I love my wife more than I love myself. I used to be a spiritual man, seeking God in all I do, but now I keep asking God where He is at this time. I can't help it. I am lost. I love her. I am willing to forgive her. But why wouldn't she start a new life with me? I wanted her to join me in counseling, but she refused. I asked her what she wants. She said I was pressuring her. I told her to leave the other man. She said it was difficult. Every day, I call her, text her and even send her love letters. But she seems cold, distant. I text the other man and threaten legal action, for it is illegal under the penal code to entice someone's wife here. But I don't know how that's going to end. They both claim they love each other, but I warned her that going with someone like that, with no morals, would only kill her. She said he was a good guy, and that she was the one who fell for him. I'm lost, really lost, depressed. I want to move on, but I have only been with one woman in my life, and that is her. For the past 10 years, from studying together to marriage. I love her so much, I don't know if I can ever learn to love anyone else. Comments. She didn't confess, you caught her. As far as you know, she never had any intention of telling you the truth about this child. Confronted with her treachery and deceit, she blames you. She says she doesn't know if she wants a life with you, but she's not ready to break off this OM. She rejects your loving overtures. They say they love each other. You want her to go to counseling and she refuses. How many ways does she have to show you? You say you want to trust her. So, trust her. She's screaming loudly to you who she is, what she's about, and what she wants. What she wants just isn't you. I'm betting that she's keeping you close but at arm's length because she's waiting to see if this thing with the OM pans out. If it doesn't, you're the backup plan. She'd rather have him than you, but she'd rather have you than nobody. File D papers and grow up. How can you love someone more than yourself? That shows you are not ready for a mature relationship. Take time to know you while you are over there, marrying then leaving a couple of months later for 3 years. Come on man, grow up. She just gave you your freedom. Use it, and if nothing else, the D papers will wake her up to reality. She loves him but abort his kid. She is too immature herself. Also, he must be desperate to take her back after she did. So, let them have each other. You went above and beyond what was needed to show that you were willing to reconcile. I don't think it's a matter of you being too soft on her. I think she harbors a lot of resentment towards you and because of the situation of your marriage. From her point of view, she has on one hand a man who gives all she needs and on the other, one who's always away and abandoned her. This is a long-term affair and she has a lot of emotions invested in the other man, when it's both physical and emotional combined. I don't see much hope, to be honest. Long-distance marriages never work. Women need constant attention. When they lack it, what you went through happens. I don't think this marriage has any chance of success if you're going to spend another 3 years away from her husband, unless I misread as your husband. Unless you can figure out a way of you two being together and her willing to reconcile. I'd throw in the towel. OP responds, no, there was a problem with it, ectopic, and we had to abort it. I accompanied and cared for her through the process. I thought I had moved her by my sincerity, but I really don't understand what's going on. I'm again away in another country. We'll be back in 2 weeks. It's going to be a terrible 2 weeks for me, not knowing what I'm going home to. Was I too soft to her? Is this not the way to deal with it? I thought she would be touched, and indeed, I felt that she was at first. That's when I asked her to start over with me. but she wouldn't give me a straight answer, just constant crying and blaming. She said she thinks of coming back to me, but haven't made up her mind. She says she feels pressured with my constant asking, and that whenever she thinks of returning to my side, I blow it by pressuring her and setting up boundaries. I do not think I am at fault, but I do not know how to go on. There is a way for her to come over. She is supposed to come for an internship to where I am, where we will be together again. But now, she is hesitating as if she wants to come. I admit, I am weak. I really am. If not, I would have kicked her out the moment I found out. Not writing love letters to win her back. I am going to put my foot down. I will make her choose. Yes, I should grow up. I have been to other support groups. It was patience this, patience that, pray hard. I see it now. I've always known what I did was weak, didn't want to admit it. Needed a wake-up call. This is awakening. Please continue to whack me till I am fully awake. Thanks for the support. We'll give her a little time to get over the abortion though. That is the least I can do. Losing a child, even unborn, is never easy. Even I am deeply sad over losing a life. So, while I let her rest, and while I have this freedom away from her, please, brothers and sisters, whack me silly, because I couldn't be any sillier. I was a complete doormat. I couldn't agree more. Just set my wife straight a few hours ago. Made her severed all ties with OM, threatened her with D and all sorts of lawsuits. For her and OM, they are both professionals, so it will destroy their lives completely with something like this. Just like from what I read here, she was angry, accused me of snooping, invading her privacy, forcing her to a dead end. Blah blah blah. I told her she could go announce to the world what she did and leave me to be with OM if she wanted, but all she did was cry and cry. Well, too bad. Our marriage can live with a little anger and hate for now. We'll see if she really repents and is sincere at R. Any ideas how to go on from here, dear friends? Deep inside, would still like to R, but with all these emotions, wonder where it's headed. She did try to take it underground but wasn't wise enough to hide it too well. I figured it out and printed every email and chat they had. That's when I threatened legal action to destroy them both. We'll keep an even closer eye now. But what the heck? If it goes on, why even R right? Just destroy them both. Will the anger and hate subside? She's pretty pissed off, I guess, but I'm standing my ground. What should I do next to R? She says she's not ready for counseling. Well, maybe talking to a stranger isn't really our Asian norm. Doesn't feel too comforting for me as well. Given time, maybe we'll go for it. I can't go all softy for her again. I'm not going to woo her back, but I'm stuck. What do I do next? And, the truth is, I still love her. I'm hurt, but I still love her. Just talked to her again. She sounded remorseful, and was willing to R she is messed up, and that is partly my fault as well. So, with all the boundaries set up, and my decision made clear, I'd give her just a little time to think. She's still going through the emotions about the abortion. So I'm actually depressed about the abortion we went through. This is my timeline. We've been married 3 years. I got a job in another state just 2 hours away 6 months after we married. I drove back and forth to her every 2 to 3 days. Then we both moved to the state I was working in a year later. Husband married a bit more than a year's now. We spent time together unseparated for a year. Then 6 months ago, I came overseas. So basically, she started her affair when I had to go over to another state. I messed up as well. Life was hard. I was just trying to give her a better life by working a little harder for the first few years or so that she can sit back and relax for the rest of her life. I talked to her about that. She agreed. But she betrayed me. We were together 6 years before we married. I was never with anybody before her. I was also her first man, but not her last. She did say that she missed me, but that was all a lie even until D-Day. I know that now. I just didn't want to believe it, but I believe that she is a liar and a cheater and nothing can change that unless she wants to change it herself. Pray hard for me, guys. I must see myself through, for my own sake, somehow. She has a good job and doesn't really need the finances. My hope is that she is still hanging on because somewhere in her heart, she still cares. The OM has broken off with her. I found out while snooping at her email and rubbed some of that at her face. He was like, I really love you, but I can't see that I can do anything. A bunch of bull crap. I hope that by backing out, you can save your marriage. I will remember you till the end of my life. Sickening. I just texted him again this morning to warn him of the consequences of ever contacting her again. 3 months later, I tried to forgive her, but I can't. I look at her eyes, and all I see is that other face, that other man's face. It feels like she's not a part of me anymore. I served her the divorce letter, although some of you might think that should be satisfying, but I didn't feel anything. Just empty, not even sad, just an empty action. And I can tell by her reaction, she just wanted to treat me as a plan B. I wanted to be her husband. Not her plan B anyways. I'm going to take a trip up to Montreal when things get a little bit better around the world. I need some fresh air to take my mind off this. Story 2. Husband doesn't love me anymore after I cheated. I don't know where to begin. I am sitting here somewhat confused, which is why I am online looking for the answer. So, I cheated on my husband about 6 months ago. He found out by going to paste something that he thought he had copied on the PC but ended up pasting an entire message I had wrote to the person I was having an affair with. Great. Here's where the good and bad began. Good because that guy I was having an affair with was a mistake. Completely. And bad obviously due to my husband finding this out in a worst possible way while I was at work. So, we hashed it out majorly. Some pretty rough, turbulent times going over the occurrence. And why and how horrible I am, was the grief, the guilt, the pain, the loss of the things I was doing which obviously caused some enjoyment or I wouldn't have been doing it in the first place. And my husband decided to stay with me and that we would work on things, and we have been doing so for 6 months. However, this is the problem. He cannot forgive me. We can have a great day, or a great week, or we can be just okay and getting along and then, suddenly, out of the blue in my opinion, he's depressed, which causes or turns into anger. And he's lashing out at me, or remarks etc. When all I have been doing is being me, living our life. Working, being mom, meaning I haven't done anything wrong that day he lashes out on me, or even that week. Etc. I just don't think it is fair that if he chose to stay in this relationship and if I am not doing anything wrong, I am being honest and a good wife and mom, I don't think it's fair that he can just be mean over something that happened 6 months ago that I cannot erase. I can never take it back, we can only move forward or really on be in today. I have tried to explain this to him numerous times, but never really listens or understands. He only sees his point of view and starts yelling and guess what? Leaves. He's gone for good he says tonight, and I honestly think he means it this time. I am sad. I wish he would have left initially almost. I wish he could see that I have changed and the good that I am doing. But anytime I want to see a girlfriend even with my kids with me, he is not okay with that. He has become controlling beyond belief. Now we are divorcing because I went to my best friend's 7-year-old son's basketball game and to her home for a few hours on his off day. Because I intentionally did that to hurt him, he says. Because I knew he needed me as he is depressed and needed me. I'm sorry, but I would like to continue somewhat of a social life outside our marriage and maybe have at least one friend. He is a chef and works 14 hours a day typically and we are opposite schedules. I think all the problems stem from this. I am a full-time worker, and mom the rest of the evening, and maid, then at 11:30 at night when he gets home. I am expected to be a fabulous wife too. When do I ever get me time to be me and be relaxed? I guess what I wanted to ask is, can this ever be mended? He seems to not understand where I am coming from, only sees that I don't love him. Which in turn every time he says that to me or asks for more affection husband when we are fighting husband it makes me think that he doesn't really love me for who I am. He wants me to change or to act or be someone that I am not being currently. Which is me. So, I think he doesn't love me, we are a mess, we can't communicate effectively at all. We tend to only see our own perspective, me too? I guess, but I understand he is hurt, I just can't erase what happened. All I can do is be respectful and honest and not lie going forward and that's what I'm doing but it is not enough. I personally, if my husband had cheated on me most likely would have called it quits straight away as I know that I would always have doubts and not strong enough to handle that. But he chose to stay and to work things out, and now I guess is realizing even though he has tried he simply can't. I talked to him today and stated pretty much what you said that our relationship will never be the same. It can't be unfortunately. But that does not mean that it still can't be good, or even great. Just that he will never blindly trust me again most likely. I told him that this was okay and that I understood that. But that in order to move forward he must forgive. He can't keep bringing things up anytime a TV show or movie triggers his emotions. Well, I mean of course he should be able to bring it up and talk about it as adults if it is bothering him, but he cannot just lash out at me and claim depressed, unhealthy, and not resolving anything, also hurting the relationship further. I do blame myself, I am the root of the cause and the problem. I am fully aware of that. It hurts and it sucks, it hurts him the most. However, I feel that he has taken me down even further. And that I cannot be fully in love with him while he is treating me this way. I do love my husband and he is a great man and father. I want to be married to him forever if we can just get past this but I am afraid that we may not be able to. We are on a downward spiral and it doesn't end, only subsides, then resurfaces when his emotions are re-triggered. But then it doesn't become an adult, loving, or even caring talk, it becomes a fight and I'm leaving, done when nothing new has happened, nothing wrong has been done again. I'm just confused. How do I help him feel safe? Well, I am not very good at this maybe. I feel like me staying home most of the time, most always, and that me letting him know times I will be home if I do go somewhere and sticking to that time. And if running behind to let him know. Etc. always answering him when he calls. Etc. We aren't currently doing anything to repair our marriage. We went to counseling separately months ago, and together prior to that, husband prior to the affair, husband for other reasons. But currently a big nothing. I did agree today to go through if that is what he wants. But now he is gone, and sounds very serious about this being the end, very hateful and just done. Here's what I did, telling him why I believe the affair happened, and all the details, etc., and how I think that we can mend those issues. And that big changes need to be made on both ends. I tell him how I feel at the moment I feel it. I don't hold things in or hide my thoughts or feelings to explode later. I try and take on issues as they come, head on. I like to talk about problems. He does not. Only they surface in anger, sadness gets bad. I tell him that I love him and try and reassure him by words mostly, and some kissing, etc. Is that what you mean by transparency or not? We never laugh anymore, that's the hard, sad part. We just work and pay bills and grind on. I suppose that is a lot of people's lives, but I also suppose they find a friend in their mate. I don't think we are even friends anymore because he simply hates a lot about me, and because I hold resentment and have for some time, and now he does as well. It sucks. Comments. Try to put your friend on a hold for now, mainly because your husband is triggering as hell every time you are hanging out with your friend. He is rightfully not trusting her since she knew all along, and since you had an affair it wouldn't be much of a stretch to think that your friend covered for you all along. Simply tell your friend for now, your husband, kid, family has to go first for a while. So, you two can't be talking and seeing each other, for time being. If really good friend as you say she is, she will understand. I'm seriously surprised that she hasn't already. Dragging you out on games, and so on, instead of mending your marriage. The husband seems to have acted in the only way he could, to protect himself and his mental health. The way she talks, I really hope he doesn't come back. She shows zero remorse or contrition. This friend is an enabler. I am sure they both had a good laugh over her cheating on her poor clueless husband. Almost a year from the original post. My husband moved out about 4 months ago. He signed a year lease on an apartment 5 minutes away on October 4th. We were together 8 years, married 4. He left 10 days before our 4th anniversary, which was devastating. He left stating he wasn't throwing in the towel or talking divorce and that he needed to figure things out. Said we had grown apart and he was not in love anymore. He said what is 6 most in a lifetime. I begged and cried and apologized and nothing, just pushed him further and made him angrier. At first, he was still coming over nightly to tuck the kids in bed and coming over on days off and staying at the home with the kids. Slowly he weaned himself and began never coming at night and calling nightly instead to say goodnight. And watching them at his apartment. Now he rarely calls and he does still watch the kids in his off days and mostly at his place. Or they go out. So, after a coworker talked me into it, I ordered phone records and found out about 2 months after he had left that he had been talking to a 25-year-old waitress coworker husband. He's kitchen manager. They had been talking for at least 1 month prior to him leaving. Calls at 12 to 1 a.m. for 30 minutes, etc. I confronted him and he got meaner and more distant and denies still that's why he left. Anyway, I love my husband so much, we have 2 kids, and he was my best friend. I pray and hope we can reconcile as we all deserve another chance. My her and soul ache for him daily. I am standing for my marriage, but so tough. He has been taking about divorce for 2 months now but hasn't filed anything and has not let me know his plans even though I have asked and stated I was ready to see lawyer for dissolution when he was for him because this is still the last thing I want. But he hasn't set anything up and never discusses, which is good I tell myself. Lately we haven't been fighting. I am simply nice to him and I still let him know that I welcome him back anytime and how much he means to us. He doesn't respond to that. I'm a mess, I can't function right almost. Any suggestions or advice on what best ways to reach him, or help him find his way back home? I know it has to be on his own time and what he desires. I want nothing less. Not him back out of guilt or pity. But whatever, his coworker OW comes over to his apartment and has met our kids. She came and watched a movie with them recently. And is always calling. I'm so sad. I've asked husband not to have kids around her this soon, but he doesn't seem to care. My kids see how devastated and sad I am and this confuses them with her in the picture. I'm trying to let this rebound or whatever play itself out and hold strong and love unconditionally. I believe the road he is on, which also carries me with it, is the path to divorce. He refuses to state anything else. However, I have let him know I am ready to go through the process when he is, but that is not what I want and I will not pay for it because of that. He wants us to do a dissolution, not divorce. But that was a month ago that I let him know that. And then last week I asked him what his plans are and to let me know if he is just waiting for money, income return time, or when he plans on us filing, and he will not answer me. I let him know that I am in limbo and so hopeful and that it would be nice if he could at least let me know his plans and give me some closure or knowledge so I'm not so blindsided and hurt all over again. He never brings it up though. I refuse to pay or initiate it at this point. The other woman, she was in a long-term relationship but not married. She left her boyfriend and moved out of their home a week after my husband got his apartment. So, appears they both left their significant others for each other. I have let his mom and cousin know about the affair and my family. He is aware of this. Regarding the 180, I have read about it and agree to some of it but find it very hard to do consistently. He's over twice a week for our kids too. I have backed off now and try to never initiate contact unless I have to about the kids, but sometimes slop up and just text that I still love him and we will always welcome him back when he's ready. I no longer beg like I used to, which is a step in the right direction. I guess I need to stop giving him reassurance and telling him I love him too. It's so hard because I feel like a lot of the problem is that he thought I didn't love him. It feels like it's okay and I am in it for the long haul and okay with that, but then suddenly I'm freaking out again and anxious as heck, needing reassurance and wanting to reach out to him to get tea but can't because I know I won't get it, and I'll most likely be hurt even more. So, I do what my friends tell me, which is to not contact him, to back off. Well, I try to do that. Tonight, I want to call Jim so badly and profess my love and desire to work to save out family, but I won't. I will be strong and face my emotions and not give in to them. So, freaking hard though. Well, my New Year's resolution is to leave my husband alone and only contact when absolutely necessary. About the kids, he has repeatedly told me that he feels I am manipulative and controlling and he would only come back if he wanted to, which makes sense. And it seems every time I plead it makes him angry and seems to push him further away and also to conclusions. So, I pray for God to give me the strength and the patience to carry on this. It's so hard. I have always been an instant gratification, impatient, impulsive person and need to change this. Update. I never in my wildest dreams thought that my husband would ever leave or cheat on me. Wow, was I shocked. We were together 8 years, married 4, have 2 kids, 3 and 8. Husband said he's moving out September and said he wasn't talking divorce or throwing in the towel. He just needed to figure things out. Found out after 2 months separated that he's been talking to coworker for months at night while I was sleeping, etc. Confronted him the next day but said I can forgive him and I understand mistakes and the mistakes I've made and all I want is to save our marriage and family. He started becoming more and more distant, started being angry and rewriting our history as all negatives, even our wedding night. Completely different man than I've known for 13 years total. Shocked. Anyway, I know that he is hurting and lost and I know I want us to try and save us and that I can forgive him. But also know that he has to want to come back, not out of guilt or pity. He started talking divorce after 2 months separated and says he wants a dissolution where we agree to everything and less costly, etc. I agreed to this on November 28th. I was very honest and open and non-confrontational about it. I stated that if this is what he truly wanted, that I am ready, and also let him know that I had spoken with a lawyer and the costs involved and about the procedure and approximate child support. I also indicated it is still the last thing I want, but that I don't want us to fight or hate each other. I also asked if he would pay for it, as this is something he wanted. He said he would talk to his dad's friend, husband, lawyer and get back to me. I let him know that I will not sign a waiver so that his lawyer can rep him against me. Represented me in the past. Sorry, won't help in that department. So, then I asked him again a few weeks ago when he plans on doing this and what he's waiting for, whether it's money, to please let me know so that I can be prepared mentally and so I'm not so hopeful, etc. Don't want to be blindsided again. He refuses to answer, hung up on me, and then still has not mentioned divorce again. Is he confused? Lazy? Is he too broke? I don't ducking know. I hope he's confused, I guess. Also, on Christmas he told me he did miss my husband. I had asked him husband and then told me the next day husband. I asked him if he would please think about coming home. Husband, he replied I am thinking about it. But next day told me he thinks about it every day but always comes to same conclusion. I am starting to realize he never truly loved me for me. He only loved physical time with me and how I look. He didn't love me as a person, on the inside. He even told me he always loved who he thought I could be. What the duck? That's a dumb way to look at things, and to marry someone hoping they'll change for you. I mean, we all need to grow and evolve and all, but to expect someone to change to your liking, wow. And we were together 4 years before we got married. I don't know. Just reeks immaturity. I feel sorry for him sometimes more and more lately, such as how will he ever have a healthy relationship? 3 months later, I feel much better, but there will always be that pain and sense of a deep loss inside me, buried mostly but can resurface. I have been in a relationship for about 3 months now. He seems great, we have been totally infatuated with each other and it's all still new. Lately, like today, I feel like it's too good to be true or something just isn't right. I feel like we have both really rushed into things and spend all of our free time together that we can, which I love. But at the same time it scares me. I'm afraid of being left again and afraid I am not taking enough time to be me and to heal more. I don't know, I guess after such a tragedy it's almost hard to trust and to let yourself be vulnerable again. We haven't talked about dissolution, divorce in quite some time. I am getting more money. The way things are now is he is still paying most of the mortgage and daycare expenses bi-weekly, and all health insurance through him, so am I pushing it? And he seems okay for now. But I know when the unfortunate time comes for the paperwork and filing that I will be saddened again and it will be hard. Not looking forward to it at all. My comment. A story to remind you guys, sometimes after the affair, the marriage just can't be saved. You agree? Care to share your situation? Comment down below and keep staying strong.